What's going on, man? So, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you for stopping by the show. You know what I'm saying? The podcast. David had hit me up about a week ago. He said he liked what I do and he wanted to get on here and give some people some knowledge about the real estate.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, David, just tell some people about yourself, man. Some things people may not know about you, first and foremost, bro.
Absolutely. So, full name's David Justice. Growing up, I used to get that from the baseball player. Then I was in the military for a couple of years. The last 3 years, I was actually been in Alaska. So I'm born and raised in Delaware, and I went from the second smallest state to Alaska. So that was pretty much opened my mind up and came back new and improved. So that's a little bit about me, but I have a sales experience, military experience, family man. That's me.
So let me run this back for you real quick, bro. I'm not sure if you big into sports or anything like that. You being in the military, we just kind of came off of a period where, a lot of people they had their own little feelings about players kneeling for the flag in response to, racial injustice and things like that. And, some people had their opinions that weren't white, because not all white people were against it. But a lot of black people that served in the military was, I'm not trying to hear that, bro. Look, we need our justice. We need this, that, and third. But listen, I need you to do that somewhere else. So how did you personally feel about that part set?
So there's two ways about it. One, which is probably not the right way. This year was my first year voting. But in the military, the president, the way I looked at it, was my commander-in-chief. So I always stayed out of the politics when I was in it. Because either way, whether it was Trump or whoever it was, that was still my commander-in-chief. So for a couple of years, I stayed out of it. But personally, it doesn't bother me. I mean, I can see where both sides come from. But you have to, I think a lot of people look into action instead of what it was standing for. So for me, the kneel is not a disrespect to the flag. It's, we're trying to make a statement and we're the message behind it. So I think a lot of it is, honestly, people are, not mature enough or ignorant or whatever word you want to use, that they can't really see what people are trying to stand for. So for me, I don't necessarily encourage it, but I'm not against it either. I'm more concerned about the message, what you're trying to do. I've never been for the flag. That pisses me off. If you burn the flag, then I see people do crazy stuff like that. That to me is kind of disrespectful, but the kneeling doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, I think with some people, because like I said, you're able to see context, you're able to read between the lines. And with a lot of people, and unfortunately, these people fall in the different racial category, maybe white, some maybe other ethnicities other than white. They're not trying to hear anything. Look, that was wrong. I don't care. Look, that was wrong. I don't care. Look, even if you're telling me something, I already tuned out what you could possibly tell me. I don't care. I'm trying to hear it. You feel me? Like, that was my thing that kind of pissed me off about it a little bit. I'm just like, listen, I think Charlemagne said this on one of his podcasts, like, yo, if you seen the American flag burning and you seen the black man burning, which would you put out first? So my thing is, like, if you even had to think about that, listen, I already know it. I already know everything I kind of need to know about you to kind of keep me and you arm's distance. Look, you cool, but I just can't have you in my space like that, And we also have the president. He's riling up a lot of the wrong people. And look, you're gonna get that from anybody. Barack Obama riled up people that he wasn't trying to rile up. Regardless of how good you try to do or even how bad you try to do. Because I believe in Trump's mind, he doesn't think he's doing anything wrong. You're gonna stir up some shit. Now, who are you stirring up? Because there's one thing, like I said, Barack Obama stirred up people, but he stirred up people because they didn't like that a black man was in the office. Trump sees that and says like, oh, well, they on my side with it? Fuck it then, yo. Hey, Proud Boy, stand back and stand by. You know what I'm saying? Like, or, whatever he may say, like those guys that was burning down that village or Virginia, he called them nice kids or whatever. It's like, all right, well, people that's peacefully protesting is not.
I think what he's doing is, one thing I've really been looking in is I'm just really big in like sales and psychology and stuff like that. And I think what he's doing, I really don't know him, so I think he might have a little something that you could be debating all day about that. I personally think that he's, from a sales point of view, is that you have to pick a side. And I think he just ran with one. I think, he figured he has more of a shot with this side than the other side. from a business standpoint, he just went all in on it. He's more committed to it. So, and he's kind of playing the borderline in the sense of, I don't want to say what they're doing is right, but these are my supporters. I think that's what he's doing. And I mean, I don't agree with the crowd necessarily, but I think it's a smart move in the sense of a political thing. If one side's the left, one's the right, somebody's got to be left, somebody's got to be the right. So I think that's what he did. He just picked a side and he kind of just went for it. I don't, like I said, I personally don't agree with a lot of things they stand for, but I think that's what he's doing.
Yeah, well, I don't think he'll ever abandon his side because he's one of the rare people that understands, look, I don't care what y'all say about me. I don't care what y'all think. Y'all can talk about my hair. Y'all can talk about my kids. Y'all can talk about me all day. I'm going to keep being that same guy. And I think that's what turns a lot of people on about him. Because so many times with politics, we see people shucking and jiving. They're in these black churches, dancing, whipping, doing the nay-nay and everything like that just to get a vote. And then after that, all them promises, you never hear from them. Look, Trump never built a wall. He never brought back coal mines. But he did allow a lot of those people that were suppressing something in them to just say, look, fuck it. I mean, I'm going to just be myself. Like, what do I got to lose? He didn't have anything to lose. And even if he does have something to lose, he's moving like he doesn't care.
Yeah. I think kind of... Oh, go ahead. You got it.
Yeah, you got it, bro.
I was going to say, it's kind of how you said about Barack Obama. I think I'm all for Barack Obama, but I think he kind of did his extreme side too. He was, if you look at it, the same way we thought it was crazy when Donald Trump was running for it, who would have thought a black man would be a president? So I don't want to compare them as a person, but it was kind of that same way. So I feel like, with him, he does, appeal to certain people, business people. He appeals to politicians and not even people in power. There's certain people, he has a lot of business in Jersey. I'm sure there's a lot of people in Jersey that like him, so he does have a crowd that I would say he probably does benefit, so he's always going to, even if he wasn't how he is, I'm sure he would get some voters. But, I think people just in the political game, it's all a master plan. They all, and he's a businessman. He knows what he's doing. He's not stupid. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. So I just want to run it back a little bit. Earlier, we talked about you being in the military. Now, we already spoke about your feelings on the flag. What made you want to join the military?
So my family growing up. You say again?
Did you have any family members in the military?
Yeah. So so I was raised by my stepdad, which is really I say my father, but my biological dad was in the military. He did about 21, 22 years. I had a cousin in the Navy. I have my family was pretty much either military, parole, police, or you were doing banking. It was like one or the other. Now my decision wasn't based off of that. It might have been in the blood, I guess some people might say. For me, I've just always been a person of serving. So I was always involved in church. In sports, I'm always the guy not trying to start the fight, trying to break up the fight. I don't really have a problem spending money on me. I have a problem spending money on other people. So I really was in a serving mindset. And, I just know, 1% of the population will serve in the United States. Maybe I'll be one of them. That's just kind of where it came from. I was in college for a year, just because, that's what everybody does. And that's, I had decent grades, and spring semester, I just was like, I'm not going to tell nobody. I'm just going to sign up, and I went for it. So, I mean, it was great too. I was in Delaware. It's kind of hard for people. I won't say it's hard, but a lot of people don't, how it is. You're in your hometown, people just don't make it out. And I didn't want to go to Philadelphia or PA or something like that. I really wanted to get like a lifestyle change. So I didn't choose Alaska. They choose where you go, but I knew that I would go somewhere totally different than where I was. So it was definitely a jump.
So how was that adjustment to that new life that you had to live kind of?
I think it helped that I had my dad's, he's funny. I mean, he used to, call me names and he wouldn't treat me like military, but, he would push me and, because of sports, the push-ups and all that stuff didn't really bother me. I kind of liked working out already. So I think it was definitely extreme, basic training and all that stuff. But I think the thing that really got me was the accountability for other people. Sometimes, life's not fair, and you could be perfect, but maybe your partner or your friend or your wife or your business, whoever's with you, what they do can affect you. Same thing for in life now. You could be perfect at your job, and then the economy crashes and you lose your job. You were good at your job, but you still lost your job. So I think that really is what the military taught me was, you could be perfect all you want, but things happen.
Got you. So have you ever been have they had you in the field where you had to go to battle?
So just before I got out, my unit did deploy. I had surgery on my shooting finger, so I didn't get to go. I was really frustrated about that. But now being out, having a family, I'm not gonna say I'm glad, but it's you just never know what happens. So I wouldn't be mad that you didn't get to go. But I did. I going around a couple of states, but I didn't get to deploy though. So that was one regret. I didn't get to go.
Yeah, because I always look at it like this. And I hate to bring it back to the NFL, but people were calling Kaepernick unpatriotic, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, he's unpatriotic for bringing light to a situation that a lot of people just sweep under the rug. Another situation a lot of people sweep under the rug is, there's a lot of military veterans that are sleeping on the street right now.
Yeah.
A lot of military veterans that can't get free healthcare. A
Yeah.
lot of military veterans that don't get paid more than a fucking entertainer. So
Yeah.
what are we doing here with this unpatriotism or this unpatriotic act? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, shit, can I renegotiate my contract? I've fought for this country for 10, 20 years of my life. Like, and
Yeah.
look, I may have all my limbs, but up
Yeah.
here, I'm fucked up. Like, I
Yeah.
can't explain why I'm waking up in the middle of the night and I think that somebody's bombing my house or shooting.
Yeah.
Or certain things may set me off. Like, some people are just like, so even if you come back in one piece, you're never really the same again. And I
It
had
changes
family
you.
in the military as well too. And you can just tell certain times, like, all right, I ain't gonna play with this dude right now. I'm just
Yeah.
like this corner, and other times,
even not even just on, like, I know, because a lot of people think of PTSD, and or they think a bomb when they hear fireworks go off, they think it's a gun or something. That is common, but even just lifestyle. I mean, I just your first 2-3 months, I came out of basic training, and then they have something called Family Day, where after you graduate, if somebody's lucky enough to come, some people don't have people, but they come, and you can go around with your family to the mall. It's the first time you can be a normal person, and I was brainwashed. I was walking around with my mom and my dad. We were going through the mall, and they're trying to talk to me about what you want, and I'm worried about looking for my drill sergeant, looking around, thinking I'm gonna get in trouble, or I've had times where I just went to a restaurant, I had to sit in a corner because I wanted to see everybody in the room, and it's just it changes the way you think, and for the good. I think a lot of it is good, but like you said, a lot of people get it really bad. They get really extreme. I had a friend that was in my unit that did get to deploy, and when he came back, he said for about 2 weeks straight, when alarms went off, he thought that it was missiles going off, because that's what just happened like 3 months ago. There were missiles shoot around, so it does mess with people, And I think right now, I'm a very understanding person, so I don't want to say that there's not programs out there. I just think there's not enough, or they're not designed to really help people, because there's, like you said, there's a lot of homeless people. I drive through Philly a lot, and
it's sad, bro.
They get me. I don't know. They could be using it they might not even be veterans. They might be suckering me, using it for drugs. I don't know. But I just always assume it's somebody that does need help. And every time I go through Philly, I'm giving somebody, I try to, if I have cash on me, give them money, because it's just like, there's really people, that, like you said, they get out and they're by themselves.
It's sad, man. People like, because I wanted to see, because you've never been like, I just want to correct, you've never been deployed overseas, correct?
Not overseas. So I've been over a couple states. I've been, I've done live fire. I've been shot at and stuff like that. But it's not, I'm not a false advertiser. I'll never say I've been like in battle or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, because now the thing I was saying that, because so many things that happened in the U.S. in the last couple of months, the unemployment rate skyrocketed, people losing their jobs, people losing their homes, people are out on the street even more. And look, it's not a third world country still. We still live in America, but you get that taste of what it's really like to go without. Because when you're deployed over there, and I can imagine some of your friends will tell you, you'll have people, I've had people in my family tell me, like, yo, you'll have little boys running up to telling you, like, hey, can you take my sister back with you? Can you take us back with you? You start to see life from a different perspective. Like,
yeah,
yo, like this is how they live over here. And
yeah,
the reason why I brought that up is because, prior to COVID, we was all looking at the coronavirus. We had jokes. We had all that. And then when they shut the country down, you like, oh,
got serious.
Oh, and then people start dying. You're like, oh, this is serious. Like, this is
Yeah.
real serious. Like, bro, I don't even let people around me that sneezing more than once. Like, you sneeze once in a half hour, it's like, yo, listen, I don't think this is the right move for us. You feel me? So my
Yeah.
thing is, what have you learned that I wanted, because I really want to segue into this real estate talk. Like, has
Yeah.
real estate, the market, so to speak, been impacted as heavily as advertised by the coronavirus or by COVID-19, so to speak?
It is, I would say, in some ways good, some ways bad, but yeah, it definitely has. One way that we're learning right now is that when you talk about the economy, real estate is one thing that really brings it down or brings it up.
Mm,
So right now, the IRS and the government, um, just politics and stuff, they're really using real estate to really try to get this economy back up. It's not the only thing, but it's one of the major things that they're using. That's why you see rates really low right now.
mm,
That's why you see, there's a lot of programs opening up right now. Is because real estate is always going to be tied to the economy. So it definitely did get affected by COVID. I wouldn't say because the virus happened. I will say because how the government's response is to getting the economy back up.
mm. And that's what I'm saying, because the reason I was looking at that, because doing my research on, whether I should rent, buy, or like, kind of buy out a condo before I get my
Yeah.
first house, things like that. And like the
Mm.
videos I keep seeing is, yo, now's the worst time to get a crib. Now's the worst time to do all that. Now is the worst
Yeah.
time. Now is the worst time. And it's like, I'm not the one that's going to have somebody fear or guilt me out of a decision I want to make. Now I'm going to do
Yeah.
my research on a constant basis, but
Yeah.
seems how I'm on a line with you, and I'm just like, would you, if someone came to you and said, "Hey, David, I'm thinking about getting my crib. I done rented for the last couple of years. It's time for me to own. I want to own. How should I go about this?"
So the first thing I would do is, at least what I do is I always first off see your expectations and see where you're at now. So one thing is, I'll never advise a buyer to go look out without being pre-approved, because then you could just waste your time.
Right.
It's not for me, it's for you to make sure, what's the point of going to see X amount of dollars if you can't afford X amount of dollars. So that's the first step I would tell anybody. It's no different than if you're getting a car. It's like a credit app, pretty much. They'll tell you what you can afford. So that's the first thing I always do. Then I just, figure out what you're looking for. If you're here in Jersey, it's kind of hard to find, I say South Jersey duplexes. It's really hard sometimes. So if you're looking for that, right now they might be scarce. It just depends on the town you are. So that's the first thing is, make sure to figure out that it's the right time financially for you. Can you? And then I would also figure out the expectations to see what you want. And as an agent, I don't always jump into let me show you houses. Sometimes I encourage you to look around just to see if there's any examples of things that that's what I'm going for, and that's already a clear indicator if it's a good time. But always talk to a realtor or a friend, somebody that's bought a home, something like that. Because you talk to people that have bad experiences, like you said, they can discourage you. The way I look at it is you could take advantage of the time. It might be one reason why people are saying it's not a good time is because there's low inventory. So you as a buyer, you might want to go find, you're saying you look for a condo or something, and there's usually like 10 in your town at this time. It might only be 2 or 3. So because of that, things will sell faster. You get into bidding wars. You might pay more for that condo than you would have last year because there's 10 other people that want it.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a negative right now.
Yeah.
But you can also look at it in the sense of, you can take advantage of the rates. So because the rates are a lot lower than they've ever been, you can buy more house than you could last year. So I wouldn't listen to a negativity, just a matter about your goals.
So their goals and their expectations of what they, and like my thing is, if they're not well versed on what they're walking into, whether they get their dream home or not, like, how do you walk somebody into, oh, like maybe I don't know where you heard this from, but let me just show you what it really is, as far as what we can do for you, as far as getting you in the house that is right for you. Maybe not the house that you wanted, that you pictured in your head, but the house that's right for you.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's important to like right now I'm big on like talking to people in different industries. That's one reason why I reached out to you. Is like it's good to really personally know somebody, so that way there's no bias. They're not just trying to, like, because I'm a real estate agent, I'm just trying to sell you anything. Meet people personally so that you know that you could trust them and they're telling you an answer, you know. So I would really, first thing is find somebody that either bought a house recently or, you know, somebody's a realtor or somebody in that industry, and just, you know, connect with them and tell what you want, and they'll give you an honest opinion. That's the first thing. It's a relationship thing. I wouldn't just, a lot of people go on Zillow and they just, you know, have an agent reach out to me. I'm not a personal advocate for that because there's no relationship to it, you know. You truly want somebody to sit down with you, especially a first time buyer. Sit down. There's so much other than the price and where you want to go that you have to look into. Property taxes, you know, is it in a flood zone? You know, is there HOA? What does HOA cover? You know, there's so many different things that, you know, you really want somebody that's going to sit down and explain everything for you and a personal touch to where you want. South Jersey and North Jersey are totally different. You know, South Jersey doesn't use attorneys like that. In North Jersey, they always have them, you know, so you truly want somebody that's an expert or at least is going to guide you personally in the area you're looking.
That's dope, bro. What made you want to get into real estate?
So, like I said, some of my background when I first, a little bit before military and a little bit after, I was in sales. So I was in car sales. My first experience was Mercedes-Benz, and then after that was Subaru. And I became a top agent, but top, you know, salesperson. But I never was like that, you know, those car salesmen that just harass you and, you know, try to throw you anything and screw you over. And, you know, I always wanted to be that person that was real, that actually knew what I was talking about, but just was, if you buy a car, it's fine. If you don't, we could talk about the game. We could talk about other cars, you know, whatever. I just wanted to be a personal person that happened to sell cars, and, you know, that'd be it. So for me, I was really good at that, but I was becoming a family man, and I wanted more time. I wanted to, you know, take it up a little bit higher, and I wanted to help more people. And I think that what's the biggest purchase somebody can make is their house, you know, other than maybe a business. So for me, I just was like, I want to sell at the highest level, and I want to help as many people as possible at the highest level. So, you know, COVID hit, and that's when I jumped in. I was like, you know, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to got some money saved up. You know, worst case scenario, got unemployment. You know, just, you know, give it 6 months, and, you know, just go all in, and that's what I did.
And, you know, thank God it's looking better for you and everything like that. So are there any similarities between selling cars and selling houses?
Yeah,
because
I would say so.
cars, to me, and the reason why I say that, they depreciate with the value over time.
Yeah.
Houses do not. You take care of your house, the things that you do to your house and things like that. That house you may put $100,000 into that house, and it may be worth $600, you know, $300 to $600,000 5 years from now.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I kind of asked that.
So what I would say is the product you're selling is totally different, but I would say in the sense of, at least in the sense of being successful in it, I feel like the basis of it is relationships. So for me, the way I separated myself from the 15 other people when I was selling cars at my dealership was that I was just some young, innocent guy that was just being nice, that really thought cars were cool, and I'd be happy to show you all of them, and, you know, and be honest with you and be transparent about them. That's the same thing where I feel like with real estate, and it goes up another level, but it's definitely a people business. The more people you talk to, and, you know, advertising and knowing your stuff, I think that's similar, but the process is totally different. You know, buying a car is definitely a lot of paperwork, but with real estate, there's a lot more. A car, you can go there randomly on a Saturday and you be in and out in 2-3 hours. That's not going to happen with a house. It's going to be a month or two minimum process. So, you know, I think the people business is the same, but other than that, I think they're kind of different.
And different, you mean it's because of the conversation you have to have?
No. Just the amount of, I think I don't want to minimize buying a car, but generally speaking, if you knew what you wanted, you know, let's say you don't know anything about buying a car, but you knew what you wanted and where you wanted it, you could be in and out and understand the process in probably 2 hours. Now with a house, you can know exactly what house you want, how much you want to pay, and you just walk into my office and say, I want to buy a house. You're not going to be out in that, not even that week. It's going to be a process. It's going to be a learning experience. You know, and you might learn the hard way that what you want is not available, you know, or you might find out you can get more, you know. So I think there's a little bit more into it. I just think it's a bigger decision. It's definitely a bigger decision. And like you said, it can become an appreciative asset, but a car is definitely not an asset. I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, I mean, well, because you can never. I'm not gonna say never, but I don't think you can ever sell that car for what you bought it for. Because as the mileage goes up, people understand like this car is getting further away from the new than it is towards the old. As opposed to a house, it's like, oh, they got the ceilings refurbished and the gutters changed and all this other stuff. Like, oh snap, they didn't put some extra pavement down. The floor in the kitchen is tiled now. It's a different type of tile. It's granite marble top on the in the kitchen and everything like
Yeah.
that. So it's like you can do so much stuff to a house that will add to its value as opposed to depreciate its value. So
Yeah.
it's a tricky game, man. And like I said, me personally, I'm still trying to learn. A lot of it is almost like a foreign language. What I'm hearing, what I'm trying to hear, I'm trying to take notes, and I'll read notes like, there's no way he could have said that. That I go back to that video, and it's like, all right, let me just take as much time as I need, because like it can be overwhelming thinking that you, like you said, thinking that you know what you want, where you want to be, and then it's just like, nah, this ain't really what you want. And I'm not gonna tell you it's not because you can't afford it. I'm gonna show you why it's not. Because you're gonna be miserable in about a month or two when you're locked into this house.
Yeah, I would say it kind of how you said, like, when you go to a car dealership, you go there and a lot of people, when I sell cars, they come in there, especially a young military guy, they come in there and they think, I can afford $500 a month for $300, and they think that's it. And I'm like, that's cool, but you got to realize you got to get insurance, you got to cover gas, oil changes. And that's a little comparison to a house is times that by 10, the things that can come up. A lot of people don't know that when you buy a house, it's not just the down payment. There's closing costs. At the end, when you're at the settlement table, there's things you have to pay for, like, title insurance, or, your down payment. It could be maybe you're selling a home and you prepay for property tax and they need money back. There's a lot of different things that people don't think of with a house. So it's definitely a lot, but I honestly think it's really simple too. There's just so much stuff, and I think people just need to sit down and have somebody kind of go over step by step the process, and it becomes a little bit simpler.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, that's why people got vets in the game too. Like my thing is, there's always bad apples in every field, right?
Yeah.
What would you describe as a bad apple in real estate?
If you were working with a realtor,
Mm-hmm.
I would say I've had people that just show you anything. So you can right now go on your phone and go on Zillow.com.
Yeah, I use Zillow sometimes too.
Yeah. So if all I'm doing is any realtor can just look up properties on Zillow and just send you stuff in the area for the price range. That's not worth your money to me, be honest. For me, I've had realtors refer me stuff and say, I just can't drive there. That's the reason why I'm sending it to you. And that's not the case. I talked to the actual client and they're like, yeah, they showed me a house and I was scared to come out the house, out the car. And it didn't look like, so to me, it's like anybody can just look stuff up and schedule an appointment. You can send me 3 properties you saw on Zillow right now. I'll reach out to the agent and schedule appointments for tomorrow. Anybody can do that. I think, also you'll have people that pressure you. If there's no relationship there, it shouldn't feel like the whole time you're just talking to somebody random. You're dealing with somebody random. There should be somebody, you guys after the second, third time should be, talking about the game or, what you're getting out to eat, or, it shouldn't be all business. It should feel like a personal relationship, almost like a friend, I would say. It's just, it sounds weird to say it like that, but if somebody's going to help you buy your house, they should understand you. They should understand how you feel. They should understand what you're looking for. And it shouldn't be just what you put on paper. Some people, I'm a light person, so I like when I go in a house, I don't like houses, like I'm saying that now because I don't have a lamp in here, but I don't like houses that are like super dark during the daytime. I like to have a lot of big windows because it just feels homey to me. If you have a client like that, you can give them 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms and 2,000 square feet under $200,000. But they go in there and they're just like, I don't know, for some reason, I just don't like this one. You should be, as a realtor, be able to understand where that's coming from. You shouldn't be mad. Why won't you buy something right now? This is everything you wanted. That's not a good realtor. They should really be able to connect with you and understand with you.
Mm. Yeah, because it's almost like barbering in a sense. It's like, people would come to me and say, look, I want a mid to high top, a mid to high
Yeah,
top fade. And you thinking in your head, like, all right, I know what that is. And
yeah,
then as you start working, you're getting everything prepped and you're about to get into the hair. I'm combing the hair out. And it's like, yo, just one moment, but can you show me a picture of what you actually really want?
exactly. Yeah,
And then they'll
yeah,
show you the picture, like, that's not a mid to high top fade, but it's like, this is one of the things that I learned. Like, you have to be a little bit more personable with them, be
yeah,
able to talk to them. Sometimes people just come up to show you, like, hey, this is what I want. Da, 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 da. I know that you're new. You may not be able to get it exactly the way that I want, but some people will trust you just strictly off of the conversation you have with them, bro. And
yeah.
I can imagine that real estate will kind of get like that too. Like, sometimes y'all not even talking about the house. Y'all get to the house and they'll be looking around, but y'all still talking about something that has nothing to do with the house.
Yeah, I've had, you hear people say it's too quiet in the neighborhood. I've heard people say, I had a bad experience over two neighborhoods over. I just can't live here. It's just, you have weird stuff. And, your initial thought would be, well, this is the house for you. Why would that shouldn't be a big deal. But in the same side, I think the realtor should never be just looking for the sale. Understand, like, this is my job. This is how I, make a living. But you'll honestly, even if you want to be selfish, you'll find more business just treating people right and just connecting with them, because then you'll be able to find the home that they want. So whether that's the first home or I had somebody, we looked at like 30 homes. It's all about connecting with them, understanding. Like you as a barber, you'll have people eventually where it went from them showing you a picture to they go in there. You've seen them 20 times a year, and you don't even have. You just ask them the usual, and you kind of understand. That's a connection. That's not you guessing every time. You just over time understand what they want. And
Mhm.
that's a good barber. I don't go to barbers that I don't like going to the barber shops where it's like you sign in and you just get. When I was in the military, you would have some random person every time cut your hair at the home base. I didn't like that. So
Mhm.
as a barber, you can really barbershop, especially for black men. That's a big part of your life. It seems simple, but that's a
It's like
big
a
part of your life.
sanctuary.
Yeah,
It's where you
for
can get a
me,
lot of the stuff off your chest.
yeah, my barber growing up when I was in middle school, I wouldn't say elementary to senior year, guy's named Gary. The barbershop's not there no more, but he cut my hair for prom. He cut my hair, first dates. He cut my hair when I got my first job. That's a personal thing.
Mhm. Very
Nothing.
personal, bro.
Yeah.
And I heard you mention earlier that you're a family man.
Yeah.
So you married, have kids.
So I'm married right now, planning to have kids, and then I have my family's really they're about like 20 minutes away, but that's kind of how I operate. I like going to all the birthdays and going to the same church and just being connected. I think it's really big, especially in the black community, to embrace your family, and there's you can learn anything you want in your family. I felt bad because I had a great grandfather, which is a lot of people don't have a grandparents' life. So for me, I had 3 sets of great grandparents at one time still alive, and he was an engineer. He was in the military. Everything I wanted to do at that time, and I just, when he passed away, that hit me hard because I was like, if I would have talked to him and just give him, and your grandparents, all they want to do is talk to you. You can get so much wisdom there. You don't have to get a college degree or read books. Sometimes just talking to your family, they'll educate you and keep you safe and put you on.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Like me personally, I'm not opposed to tying a knot one day. I just think that times have changed, and I'm
Yeah,
not saying that it's like an archaic thing where it's just so outdated. I'm just thinking like I'm of the mindset of how we just talked about vetting people and building that personal connection. We live in a time where that personal connection is being thrown out the window, and so many people are just going from one person to another person to another person. So in in this type of era, man, like I just want to say, like, how were you able to find that one? You went from the military, you went from selling cars, doing real estate now. Like, there's so many other things that could have gotten your way for you finding who you
yeah.
that person that you wanted to spend the rest of your life with.
So I would say there's several things for me. The first thing is it also depends on the personality. Some people I generally always wanted to get married. You grow up in the urban city, they kind of talk bad about it, and they kind of more about a single life. Even when I was in the single life, I knew one day I wanted to get married. you know.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Some people just, and that's fine. Not everybody's supposed to get married. Some people generally, like, you know, maybe you're an introvert, maybe, you know, some people had bad examples of marriage, whatever it is. Some people just maybe don't even want it. So that's the one thing I think I always had the mindset that one day I would actually want, you know, want to get married. And then two, I think, you know, growing up, you always say, you know, you have a certain type, or this is how my person gonna be. I think honestly, I'm not you know, condoning, some people say fast, or, you know, talking to everybody, hitting quit, or, whatever it is, or trying everything. I will say is just letting it happen. Sometimes I think people put, my person's going to be this tall, they're going to like this, and they're going to do this. And I think you're just setting yourself up for failure. I think honestly, just getting out there, doing different things and meeting new people, you'll eventually run into a person who one day you're like, you don't even say, you just kind of like, hang out a little bit more. And then, next thing you know, you want to put more effort in. And, even if you're not a, gentleman, it just happens one day. And I think that's what people need to do. Stop saying, I'm going to get married, or say, I'm not going to get married. Just let it happen,
Yeah. So agree or disagree? Do you think that standards destroy relationships more than anything else could? Or standards destroy your potential happiness when it comes to you and your potential mate?
I would say they have yeah, I was not all the time, but I would say, yeah, I would say they do. I would say, if you have, I want to say that you ruin it, because I understand, like, you might have things that you have to have. I can understand, like, there's certain things that may be unacceptable to you. So I can understand that. But at the same time, I think you have to be willing to be understanding, or, learn, people are different, my wife, I would never met her if I joined the military and get out of Delaware. So the way she was raised in Alaska is a totally different way I was. I'm Black, she's Samoan. That's totally different cultures. That's different areas. So I think you also have to be understanding of that. Is I don't think you should have somebody cheating on you all the time, and being But I think, yeah, standards can mess people up. I think they can.
So, because a lot of people rush into those things. How did David know this is who I'm gonna spend the rest of my life with?
Yeah.
Like, what moment were you just like, oh shit, I got it?
Well, my wife, so for us, the weird thing is we didn't. Okay, so I said it one day. I randomly said, like, you're my girl. But the way it was, we just honestly started, hanging out and stuff, So we were, I guess we were dating, but we never, it wasn't like, you want to date with me or you want to go out or something like that. It was never like that. It just kind of like every step just naturally went in there. Yeah. So I feel like one day I don't remember the specific day, but I just knew, like I'm every day I just want to be around her all the time. And everything, as far as work, as far as, I wanted to go over there for lunch instead of being around in car sales. That's like a big time. Everybody's eating lunch together and stuff. I wanted to eat lunch with her, then we moved in together. Then I'm around her family all the time. When I started seeing how, like, a glimpse of what life was with her all the time, I could have had it could have been like, oh, this is too much, or I was more like addicted to it. And I think that's when I knew, like, this is where I wanted to go.
So it's more so just getting used to being around that person and understanding how they, I guess, accept life, or how they move about life, to see, like, hey, me and this person have a lot more in common than I thought. Me and this person actually enjoy each other's time more than I thought we would. This isn't just a fling. This isn't just, oh, this is a girlfriend, we'll see where it goes. This is like, oh, this is
I would
lightning
say
in the
push
bottle.
yourself. Yeah, I would say push yourself. I mean, everybody likes the movies and everybody like this, but try different things, And also, don't always look for similarities. Look for differences and embrace them. So if you are, I don't know, if you're really artsy and the other person is really athletic, or if you're, really, a social and the other person introvert, try doing the things that they like to do that you might not like to do. And honestly, that's a really clear sign if you really fool with them or not. It's like, if it's like, this is totally not something I would do if I didn't, but you're like, I just want to be around them, and you start to like it too, that's a good sign. And if you're more focused on, this is, I don't like skiing, or I don't like playing basketball, or I don't like, whatever. If you're more focused on that, and, or you don't see the value in learning about them by doing what they like to do, then that could be a bad sign. That's probably not the person. And there's nothing wrong against them. It's just that's not the person for you. Because I think truly, if you find the person, whatever the way their life is, you'll honestly value it just because it's their life.
That's dope, bro. So what's one of the biggest myths, and I kind of want to ask you this in closing. What is one of the biggest myths of real estate that you hear out all the time that kind of just like makes you like, you shut up, this is so stupid. Why do y'all keep believing this? Sure, and the reason why I do that, I'm pretty sure you see certain memes on the Instagram, you'd be like, y'all, and you reposted it, jackass, like, or you'll probably see somebody say something on Instagram, or you'll probably hear something in conversation with with your friends or family members where you're just like, I really don't feel like getting into this conversation, but that was dumb.
I would say two things. One, you said something earlier. You said appreciation. Mm-hmm. So it's a myth that homes always appreciate. That's not the case. It depends on your situation. So let's say like you're like right now, for instance, let's say you found a home that everybody wants, and there's right now, bro, things are crazy. Some people, there's like 25 offers on their home, and they're bidding, and they listed the home for $200,000, but they ended up closing it at $230,000, $240,000. Now that's $30,000-$40,000 that maybe you would have appreciated in a couple of years. You might have overpaid for your home, and now when you try to sell it 3-4 years for the line, you think you made $30,000-$40,000. No, you're gonna probably lose some money on this home. So I will say, I think that's a big myth. I don't think every home appreciates. I think generally, if you get a good price, it will. You take good care of it and you do stuff to it. But I think it's a myth that homes are always appreciating assets. That's not always the case. Two, I would say is that I wouldn't say people say it, but a lot of people, when I talk to them, like, I want to save. I need this much money. It doesn't. I will say people save more than they need to. It's not that hard to get a home. I will say that. I think people make it a little hard.
It's like, I didn't mean to cut you off. My cousin just got his house built up from the ground up, and he said, "Look, my money's good. I can do that. I didn't need as much money as I thought. My credit played a lot more importance than my money did, so to speak."
Yeah, I'd say it's the whole it's no different than a kind of, not to minimize it, but kind of like when you apply for a job, they don't just look at your job history. They look at you as a person. They look at the interview. I would say when you get a home, it's not just, you want to have good credit. I think it's a big factor, but you don't have to have an 800 credit score or 700 credit score. You don't have to have half the money. You don't have to be able to move right now. There's a lot of things, and I think people make it harder than it is. That's why, like, to me, like, I'm 23, so like a lot of people I know are renters, or they're just getting out of college, or they're not even thinking about buying a home because they just assume you got to be like 40 and you got a bunch of kids and you need $50,000. They just have this wrong mindset of it, and it's truly like not that, I'm not gonna say it's not hard, but it's not as hard as people make it is.
Yeah, because I will say that I did learn a little bit more than I thought I knew about real estate through this conversation. And, I want to do a little bit more research, because with me, it's like, I know how it is to be like a new barber, new YouTuber, new podcaster. Like, you'll ask people, and I know I said I was going to ask that question to close, but another one popped up in my mind. Like, I know I like, trying to get my name out there, trying to get, work on my craft. And it's like, hey, like, yo, can I do your cut for free? And you kind of get people looking at like,
yeah.
I gotta go get my cat out the tree.
Yeah.
I gotta go to the hospital after that. And after that, I'll let you cut me, and then you see them, and then you'll see them with a new cut like 5 minutes later. You're like, yo, what the hell? But it's, how do you still kind of how do you shake off that
I'm new,
that newbie kind of thing? Like, you're like, hey, yo, I'm a realtor, I can, help you. And they're like, yeah, David, that was real nice. Hey, did you check the game last night? And you're like,
yeah.
All right, cool.
So I'll start my response by the same way I was in car sales, as I learned really quick that being new is one of the best times to do anything. So if you're going to be a painter, you're going to be a barber, you're going to be in construction, whatever it is, being new is awesome. Just in the sense of you have more time. So that's the first thing I would say. Is a lot of people, say, well, you're new, how many homes you sell? Or they'll say, you're so young or whatever it is. As a barber, you might get that. The thing is, you have more time than anybody else that's a barber that's been doing this for a while. So your schedule might be more open. That could be appealing to somebody. Is, I work a certain amount of hours all the time. I only have a weird time that I can get my hair cut. That's something that you can advertise as well. I have my schedule's pretty open, or I'm pretty lenient on my schedule. If you want me to take a longer time to really pay attention to it, I can do that. Versus I have 10 appointments lined up back to back to back. You only got 20 minutes to get this haircut. They might mess up, So that's one thing as a new person is just carry yourself in the sense of where they don't have to. I don't go around, I don't false advertise. You'll never see on my Instagram and I'll say, the top agent in the area and I'm the best agent. I don't ever say that, but I don't necessarily go around saying I'm a new agent either. I carry myself in the sense that you believe that I can help you, and I truly do believe, and I make sure I study and I make sure I get experience and I make sure I work with people to truly do help people. But you don't have to. I think people, if you carry yourself in a certain way and they truly feel like they're being helped, they won't. I've had people never ask me how old I was or how many houses you sell or anything like that, and that's just how I carry myself. And I think honestly, if you do that with anything, it might not even come up. And if it does, they'll be willing to take a risk on you, So, hey, my hair is woofing. So if you need someone to practice, hit me up. I don't care. So.
Got you, bro. I got you. Hey, look, and I'm gonna hold you to that too.
Man, I got my anniversary, 3-year anniversary next week on. So you get me next week. I got high expectations, but
look, bro. Hey, look, man, I'm with it. Anybody that's willing to, and anybody listening out there, the advice David just gave us, man, like, whether you're trying to be a barber, whether you're trying to be, a producer, podcast or anything like that, just try to take that advice and run with it, because everybody that you look up to in whatever field that you're trying to get into, they started out just like
exactly.
us, movies, so you'll never get to where you want to get to if you don't, if you don't just get out there and get that experience. Like, I don't want to do Zoom podcasts, but for the format, you know what I'm saying?
I would look at it. Yeah, I was saying too, I would also, like, I'm really big on mindset right now. And it's like, I wouldn't say psychology, like not on some, like, like on that side, but just in the sense of mentality, you can switch it really quick from, well, I don't really want to do, Zoom podcast to, like, you can reach more people right now,
Thanks.
Not everybody can come to where you are, but if you connect with somebody in Cali or whatever, something like me, like maybe you meet somebody in Alaska or something, or Europe, you don't have to, fly them in and all this other stuff, or they can't, know where you are. You can just send them a link like you did to me, and they're on. Now you can connect with thousands of people, So I think a lot of times it's mentality too. And like you said, experience. You're getting experience off of that. I mean, you probably, I don't know, how you were when you started. You might have been comfortable already, but you probably it's gonna be even easier. It's gonna be like a field day when you do get, a spot. You just do the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I always think about it like that too, bro. Like I said, I always tell people it could be worse. A lot of people was, they was hit real bad by 2020, with all the stuff we had going on with Corona, Kobe dying. We had still police brutality, things like that, diseases and all this. Like, bro, a lot of people had reasons to shack up and just be like, look, I guess life just is what it is. My life is supposed to be this way. Not me, like, I have a lot of stuff that's going against me, but I also have a lot of stuff that's going for me. What's for me is more powerful than anything that could be against me. And that's mindset.
Look about what you're doing now. I'm doing now. Like, I mean, you could look in a sense of it's really bad. Like kind of said, everybody started from somewhere. But think about if you could do something in this year. Imagine like next year or 2 years from now, where the economy is good, where there's no, racial, stuff in the system or not as bad anymore, and things aren't against you. It's just gonna be, like I said, a field day. Like, if you can get it now, imagine when it gets easier. It's just gonna be fun. So.
Right.
I think it's a mentality thing.
That's heavy. We heavy on mentality going into the fourth quarter of 2020, man. My boy David, bro. Tell everybody where they can catch you on your social media platforms, brother.
So you can get me on Instagram at _DJustice DJUSTIC 302. The same thing for Twitter. Same thing for Snapchat. I try to keep it simple so people can find me. Cell phone is 907-302-1702. Text me, DM me, anything, anytime. I'm sales, but I'm down to just have conversation with people. Sometimes I just talk to people. So if you have any questions, you can just reach out to me anytime.
That's dope, guys. And you already know me. I'm your gracious, highly favored, blessed, black, and highly favored, that is, host of the World of Q podcast, boy Karan. And we out, man. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, man.